It was a Friday night when things first started to fall apart. My wife of 8 years, Stephanie, and I had been invited to her best friend Alice's birthday party. Stephanie and Alice had been close since college, and through the years we had gone to countless gatherings hosted by her. This one seemed no different. Stephanie looked stunning in her cobalt blue dress as we got ready to leave. Her hair was perfectly styled, and the dress fitted her with elegance. "How do I look?" she asked with a playful smile. "As beautiful as ever," I answered with a grin. She laughed. "Careful, Alice. Might think you're trying to steal her." Moment. "Remember, tonight is hers." When we arrived at Alice's house around 8, the celebration was already alive. Music throbbed in the air, and laughter echoed through every corner, as both familiar and new filled the space. Alice, glowing with a drink in her hand, greeted us warmly at the door. "Stephanie, I'm so happy you made it," she said, pulling her into a long hug. The night began as others had. We mingled, shared drinks, and caught up with friends. The mood was cheerful until I noticed him, tall with a self-assured presence, a glass of whiskey dangling from his hand. His dark, focused eyes stayed on Stephanie, and a smirk played on his lips like he was in on some secret. A chill spread in my chest, sharpened by the alcohol running through me. I nudged Stephanie and nodded in his direction. "Who's that?" asked. She followed my eyes. "Oh, that's Ryan," she said casually. "Alice's friend. Met him at her housewarming last year." Ryan lifted his glass slightly in greeting. Stephanie gave him a polite smile before turning to me. "Don't be silly," she laughed. "He's harmless." I tried to ignore the unease. Stephanie didn't seem interested, and the night went on as usual. But later I lost sight of her in the crowd. My stomach knotted, searched, and asked Alice if she had seen her. Last I noticed, she was heading toward the kitchen, Alice said. When I stepped inside, I froze. Stephanie was at the counter, leaning close to Ryan. Her faces nearly touched as they laughed. Her drink in one hand, her other hand played with her necklace, a nervous habit of hers. My heart pounded. "Stephanie," I said sharper than I meant. They both turned. Her smile faded. "Hey Ben," she said lightly, though her eyes gave her away. "Am I interrupting?" he asked, staring at Ryan. He lifted his hands with smirk. "Relax, man. Just talking. Let's go," I said to Stephanie, ignoring him. She hesitated, then set her drink aside and nodded. Back in the living room, the music and laughter filled the air, but my thoughts were too loud. "Why were you with him?" I asked lowly, struggling to come. She crossed her arms. "We were only talking." "Why act like it's more? The way he leans in, the way he looks at you, it's disrespectful to me, to our marriage," I replied, frustration rising. Her expression softened. "I'm sorry if it bothered you, Ben, but there's nothing happening. Can we please just enjoy the night?" Her tone cut through my anger. Reluctantly, I nodded. "Fine. Just don't spend more time with him." She agreed, and for a while things seemed normal. Joined other conversations, even laughed. But the unease clung to me. Later she left again, saying she'd grab a drink. Time passed. She didn't come back. Looked everywhere, the kitchen, the patio, the den with the card game, but no sign. Dread grew as I walked the hallway leading to the bedrooms. The music faded behind me into silence. Doors were shut. At one I heard nothing. At the next, faint voices, a woman's laugh, but not hers. Relieved, I moved on, though still uneasy. At the last door I froze. The time it was Stephanie. Her laugh light and familiar. Then a murmur followed by soft moan. My blood went cold. My hand hovered on the knob as my heart hammered. With a deep breath I opened the door. The sight shattered me. Stephanie was on the bed with Ryan tangled together. Her dress lay crumpled on the floor, his shirt undone. They didn't notice me at first. When she finally looked up, her eyes widened in horror. "Ben," she said. My voice barely felt like my own. "For God's sake, what is this?" Ryan leaned back lazily, smirking as if nothing was wrong. Utterly unfazed, Ryan smirked. "It's not what it looks like, man. Relax." Let out a bitter laugh. "Not what it looks like. That's the best excuse you've got." Tears streamed down Stephanie's cheeks as she pulled the sheet around herself, her hands shaking. "Ben, please let me explain." But I was already stepping back, the betrayal cutting deeper than any wound I'd ever known. "Explain." "There's nothing left to explain," I said, my voice trembling with both anger and heartache. She followed me down the hall, pleading for forgiveness, but I knew in that moment, everything had changed. The trust we built over years had collapsed, and the love I thought unbreakable felt destroyed. "I made a mistake," she whispered at last. A weak excuse for the devastation she'd caused. "Oh, now it's just the alcohol's fault," I snapped, turning sharply. "When you smiled at him across the room, you weren't drunk. Don't act like this just happened." Stephanie flinched at my words, her voice cracking. "I didn't mean for this, Ben. I love you. Love me," I shouted, my voice raw. "You don't betray someone you love. Don't shatter them like this." By then people had noticed the commotion. Alice hurried over, alarm on her face. "What's going on?" she asked, her eyes darting between. I glared at her coldly. "Ask your friend. She's got plenty to confess." Stephanie broke into sobs, hiding her face in her hands. Alice tried to calm things down. "Ben, maybe you two should talk in private." But I had nothing left. Say, snatching my coat, I muttered, "I'm done. Enjoy the party." I stormed out, my vision blurred with rage and sorrow. In the car, my hands shook as I gripped the steering wheel. I couldn't bring myself to drive home. Not to her. Not to the house that once felt safe. Images of her and Ryan tangled together looped in my head, each one sharper than the last. My phone buzzed non-stop with her name. But I couldn't answer. The sound only deepened the pain. I drove aimlessly, the empty streets stretching endlessly, until I found myself at Damon's house. It was nearly 2 a.m. when I knocked. Groggy, he opened the door, eyes filled with concern. "Ben, what's going on? It's late." "I'm sorry for coming like this," I said, my voice shaking. I didn't know where else to go. Without hesitation, he stepped aside. "Come in." Collapsed onto his couch, hands trembling, unable to find the words. Damon sat across from me, worry written across his face. "He betrayed me," I whispered finally. "I caught her with him." Damon leaned forward, eyes wide. "What? In a bedroom?" I nodded, my voice faltering. "I saw it myself. I can't even process it." For a moment he was silent, stunned. Then he shook his head. "I can't believe it, man. I don't know what to do," I admitted. "I can't go home. I can't look at her. I just need to figure this out." Damon placed a firm hand on my shoulder. "You're not going to a hotel. Stay here. We'll sort it out tomorrow." "Are you sure?" I asked hesitantly. "Of course," he said without hesitation. "You're not facing this alone." I nodded, grateful though my thoughts raced endlessly. The phone buzzed again and Again, her name flashing like a cruel reminder. I couldn't answer. Couldn't bear to. What are you going to do? Damon asked. After a long silence, I exhaled my chest. I'm going to file for divorce. The words felt heavy but final. Damon nodded solemnly. If you need a lawyer, I'll get you a good one. Thanks, I murmured, weighed down with both grief and gratitude. By morning I couldn't avoid it. Had to return home to gather my things. When I walked through the door, the air was thick with tension. Stephanie sat on the couch, her eyes swollen from crying. Stood the moment she saw me. Ben, we need to talk, she pleaded. I ignored her and headed upstairs, collecting clothes and essentials. I felt her standing in the doorway, her shallow breaths filling the silence. Ben, she whispered, I didn't mean for. It was a mistake. Please, let's fix this. We can make it right. Turning to face her, arms full of clothes, I spoke coldly. A mistake. That's what you call it. A mistake. She lowered her eyes, guilt all over her face, but it didn't ease the agony tearing through me. The memory of her betrayal burned, unrelenting. I can't stay here, I said firmly. I'm filing for divorce. Her face paled as tears welled. Ben, please. Sorry. Give me one more chance. We'll do anything. I shook my head, my voice final. It's too late, Stephanie. Without another word, I gathered my things and left. As I drove away, I knew there was no turning back. The divorce was finalized within months. She tried reaching out, but I ignored her. Damon stayed by my side, offering support and guidance through the process. Eventually, life began to settle. Pain lingered, but I learned to live with. Starting over was not easy, but it was necessary. And though the memories still haunted me, one truth remained. Walking away was the right choice. Wasn't only about leaving the betrayal behind, it was about reclaiming my life and rediscovering myself.